Welcome to the Orlando Lions Den podcast, your number one Orlando City podcast. For the fans, by the fans. For the fans, by the fans. Keeping you in the know on all things Orlando City since 2018.
Hello. Welcome to another edition of Orlando Lions Den playoff edition. Barely squeaking by edition. 35 seconds away from being the season review episode, but here we are. Semifinals. We're through. I'm with my boys Cleon and Alex Reiter tonight. We're going to discuss the match against Charlotte, the Cardiac Cats. We'll talk about the Atlanta match and then the rest of the bracket and see where we go from here. So should be a fun one. Thank you guys for joining us tonight on Orlando Lions Den podcast. We appreciate you guys for listening as always. Episode 37 of the season. At this point, we're hoping to get to 40, right? We're hoping to get as far as we can. So let's talk about our sponsors first. First, we'll go into Leo with the Epic Mortgage team at Loans by Leo, 407-844-7696. If you are buying a house, if you are refinancing a house, call Leo. Make sure you get your loan through him. He'll hook you up with the Orlando City Lion or the Lions Den discount, and let him know that you heard from us, and he'll make sure to take very, very good care of you. I know rates are starting to go down. Refinances are starting to go up. So if you are looking to do any of the cash out refinances, debt consolidation, anything like that, hit up Leo at applywithleo.com. We have Chad McGibbon. He is our realtor. So we got our mortgage man and we got our realtor. They work together to make sure that you can buy a house and do it smoothly. Chad is a huge Orlando City fan. He's been a listener for a while. At Chad McGibbon, McGibbon on Twitter. QR code is on the screen. One of our good friends here at Orlando Lions Den. So if you're buying or selling a house and you need a real estate agent to represent you in the purchase or sale, make sure you hit up Chad, and he can help you out there. And of course, we got Eddie at Eddie the Commish on Twitter. Message a pod account if you're looking for insurance quotes, auto, home, life, pet, renters. Eddie does it all. It's the top agent. He's
coming up on the end. Go ahead.
No, so you're going to say he's a top agent in the state of Florida for his company. So we're proud to have him as a sponsor and as our co-partner here, or co-host on Orlando Lions Den. Obviously, since the beginning, Eddie the Commish, Eddie Cruz, he'll be more than happy to take care of you. The QR code is on the screen. But like we said, if you need more information, want to shop your rates around, just message the podcast account, and we'll be happy to point you in the right direction.
And like I was going to say, he's been all year, every time someone comes to him from the pod, someone mentions us, he donates to the foundation. And we're coming up on the end of the year. Big time for giving. If you want to donate to the foundation or you need to get insurance, talk to Eddie. He's going to donate portion of his proceeds to the Orlando City Foundation.
Heck yeah. All right, and then last one is Hourglass Brew. Thank you guys for having us again for the watch party. No mango, no party. I had a great release, and we had a great time with them this year, and hopefully we'll do it again in the future with them soon. Locations by the Executive Airport on Curry Ford, and then of course up in Longwood by the old dog track next to Papa B's. So hit them up.
And if you want any more of it, it's in my fridge.
Yeah, I need to get some of that for you right before it goes bad. All right, moving on, boys. We were about 15 seconds away from the death, from being out of it on Sunday last week, right? I think it was, and
week and a half ago. That it feels like an eternity ago, but yeah, week and a half ago we were at the death.
Yeah, I mean, Faco off the bar twice in the first half, looked very good in the first half, just couldn't get the goal. And I think we said it on the pod, on the Den After Dark, and a lot of people shared the same sentiment. Just felt like one of those nights that was not going to go our way. And then, of course, Janssen has a just totally uncharacteristic Janssen moment, lets the ball bounce over his head. They then Kyle Smith gets cooked and Schlegel deflects it in, and we're down 1-0. And we got like 15 minutes to play. And it was squeaky bum time, as Eddie likes to call it after that. Super, nerve-wracking rest of the match. And then Duncan McGuire saves the season, gets the penalty drawn. Clear foul, in my opinion. You can't pull a guy down in the box, especially on the last kick of the game. Jersey was tugged. Duncan separates his shoulder. Faku gets the pin. They send us to VAR after like Duncan's been being worked on for 5 minutes. Then they decide to review it, and the referee keeps it. My heart was in my stomach at that point. Faku, I couldn't even watch. I wasn't even looking at the scoreboard. My eyes were just shut, facing Eddie, and all I heard was a fat slap of a ball against the hand. My heart sank again, and then the crowd roared, and Faku got the rebound, 1-1. And of course, Pedro does his thing on the first 2 PK takers, and we advance on penalties against Charlotte. So a lot of development since then. A lot of Charlotte crybabies in the mentions everywhere about this goal was on, even though the math says it was off, and then this goal for ours was off in game 2, even though the lines say it was on. So it kind of feels like it was justice that we were able to advance, and I've never seen 500 people go straight into a standing cobra and get so quiet so quickly, like Charlotte did as the last 5, 10, 15 minutes of that match. So good feeling, but it was still pretty close. Cleon, start us off. How did it feel from your view, and how nervous were you going into the last that extra time, that stoppage time period?
Oh man, just leading up to the stoppage, that seemed like we was going out of there, man. That seemed like we was up out of there. I can't lie. That penalty that was clutch. Duncan dislocates his shoulder, still runs through. Y'all hear my beeping in the back. That's all. Black people do it like that sometimes. We don't change that battery. But Duncan goes down, dislocates his shoulder, and it comes through, man. Comes through for us. I can't lie. I really thought that penalty was getting saved, and it did. They got to go straight back to Faku. He puts it in. But man, that was a struggle that did not need to be. And it's just a blessing we threw, man, honestly. And PKs, I'm glad he switched it up. That was that first PK shootout we had in this playoff. That was not ideal. And that's not after the fact. They're literally saying this when we saw him. It's like, this that's literally the goalkeeper of the year, and like he's known for saving this stuff. So like to go in with your center backs and like all this stuff. I know we won with these guys before, but I mean, when you're going up against the best, like you need to put out your best, and in order. You know what I mean? You can't afford to just assume it's going to be all right. But yeah, man, that was a struggle, and I'm happy it all worked out, man. Perfect. Now we're through. We got another home game coming, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the PK lineup, because we waited for Faku to never take a kick in the first round of PKs in game 2, and it just doesn't make any sense. You make your best guys go up first. That's just how it rolls. You gotta take advantage of it. You gotta give your best guys 100% chance to make a penalty. Waiting for the end, yeah, whatever, sure, I get it, but how many times do these PK shootouts go to a 5th or 6th round in general? You count on the keeper to make at least 1, if not 2 saves, and Pedro did it, and that's why we won, is because Muriel stepped up first, and then it was I forget who was second, but Faku was third, right?
Faku, yeah. It was Muriel Smith, who, by the way, hot take, took the best PK. He skied it and hit the top of the net, and I was nervous watching him walk up. He nailed that thing. He hit that with gusto. He hit it with grit, and I loved it. It was a very gratifying thing to see him do that so confidently with how long he's been here and how much he's worked on this project. That was a nice touch. Facundo took the third. Rafael Santos took the fourth, and we'll talk about that when we come back to May. But
Yeah, the Kyle was already feeling warmed up because he got cooked on the goal that we gave up, so he was already warm and ready to go. So I'm glad he was able to redeem himself. Even Janssen almost was able to redeem himself with the header and on the near post, but just didn't go through in the regular time. But hey, man, I don't care how we did it. And that was out of all the cardiac cats moments in the planet, in the history of Orlando City, that's got to be top 3. I mean, that was
it's
the
the
last kick of
latest
the game.
one.
That
It's
was
the
the last
latest
kick
one.
of the
It's
game, man.
tops
Crazy.
Kaká's 100th minute win back in the day. And that wasn't even in the playoffs. This was in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, of course, coming down 2-0 in 2016 opener and stoppage time, but as far as implications are concerned, I mean, we didn't even there wasn't even a any sort of possession had after the PK went in and they started play again. That was it. They had one kick, and the whistle blew. I mean, it was to the exact literal word of at to death. We were seconds away from one. We were one free kick away. All they had to do was not foul, and they clear that ball out. The final whistle blows, and that's it. So, Ryder, what were your views of it from home? And I'm sure you were biting some fingernails too.
Fingernails, mango after darks, or no mango, no parties, whatever. Oof. It was stressful. It was a lot, and it shouldn't have been this way. That's the thing I'm going to emphasize. We should have won this in 2. We didn't. And then we made it dramatic in 3. And we did learn lessons, because we learned the lesson to not bunker so much. We didn't do that as much in this match. I mean, Facundo just in the first half hit 2/3 of the woodwork on the opposite end. He was close. This wasn't like the match in Charlotte where we didn't have a shot on net until the 83rd minute. We had chances, and we were just either unlucky or it didn't go. Not even didn't go our way. We weren't skilled enough to get it done, but we were counting on Facundo. And that's kind of the key that I took away from this match is Enrique's fallen in form. He's not been there for the big chances. I don't know if I would have to double check and see if he even had a chance in this match, but he's not looking like the guy we had in the summer. And that is hurting us with the lineup. We've started the same lineup all 3 matches. And it's getting to the point now where we might need to change. We'll get to that later. But as far as this match goes, the lesson we learned was PK lineups and relying on Duncan and Moriel more when we need them most in 90 minutes. And that's the key to this format. We can say we've spent a couple weeks on this pod talking about how we hate the format. We got out of the format. It is what it is. Who knows what they do next year? It's MLS. They'll make up new rules every year.
For the record, I don't hate the format.
I do remember that. You were the one person that said you don't hate the format. I hate the format partially this year because it comes right before an international break, but that's a whole nother thing.
The format got Inter Trash up out of there, so hate to jump the gun, but the format got Inter Trash up out of there, so I love this format. Love it.
It's a good take. I don't
And
disagree
Columbus,
with
too.
you. And Columbus. It did clear the
And
way.
Cincinnati.
Jumping the gun. That's two items from in the bracket, but I said bracket, so all I'm going to say is this. Moriel and Duncan, and I will ask both of you because I haven't heard anything. Is he going to be okay for this match? Did they repair him on the sideline, and has he gotten treatment? I haven't seen anything about Duncan in the past week and a half.
I haven't heard anything either, but I would assume he's going to at least try to play because he tried to play. He tried to come back in for the PKs.
Well, that's
So, I mean, if he tried to come in when it's that fresh, I mean, I would assume with 2 weeks rest, he'll probably, I think he would at least try.
yeah.
Probably one
I
of those
agree.
shoulder harness, one of those, I don't know what you call them, those shoulder things.
Look
They go
like
like this.
someone from Dragon Ball Z or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I will say this. That's a good point, Cleon. I'll channel my inner Eddie here because he's not with us tonight. I know that a lot of this fan base is all about the hustle and the grit and all that, but was him trying to get his shoulder popped back into place and then fighting to go take a PK, not like, did those people not have an out of body experience watching that? Because I enjoyed that. And I'm not even as much one of those people. I just enjoy seeing the grit and wanting to actually do it for the team. What do you guys think?
Oh, I mean, he was pumped. I would have wanted to. I mean, you don't need your arm to kick a ball, so
Exactly.
I think I'd rather have Duncan McGuire with 2 separated shoulders and Robin Jansen ever step up there again. Just my opinion.
I would have had him over either Kyle or Santos. And
No, not Kyle. Kyle, hey,
well, no,
Kyle's a
Kyle
lot
proved
of
me
things.
wrong.
Kyle's
Kyle
a lot of
proved me
things,
wrong.
but Kyle is, and he's always been a extremely good penalty taker ever since USL. He is very good at that. Mind you, he also flubbed a goal that shouldn't, where it shouldn't even have took us there. Because remember, he had the one right in front of the goal when he tripped over himself, literally a
I
foot in
forgot
front of the
about that.
goal. But the
Put his
one
studs
thing
on
Kyle
top of
can
the
do,
ball.
Kyle can hit some PKs, and he always has been able to.
As far as Santos goes on that take, I didn't even get to celebrate this that much. Like my wife was concerned for my health because it's been a rough couple weeks for me sports wise. She just wanted to win for me. And she recorded me celebrating the Facundo in that goal. And that was more exciting because I watched the Santos one and it looked a lot like he pivoted backwards when he took that. Like he took that weird walk up and he did that step where he almost looked like he pivoted back a step. And I was concerned they were going to call it back, and this was going to be another one of.
He kind of has that Joseph thing, except for he takes a little. He kind of does a little bit of a step back, like you say.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable. I'm just sitting there in the video going, "Oh God, they're going to call it back. They're going to make him take it again." I do not like this. And then they're just like, "Nope, game over." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we won." After all we went through in that game, we won. And I'm pretty sure we had some friends that were not feeling that great. I know we say, "Oh, I'm going to puke" during things like this. We had some friends that were messaging us that said they actually puked. So I feel for those people. I'm really hoping it doesn't happen again, but we'll get to that. So
I couldn't even watch to avoid any sort of that happening to me. To be honest, I was just. I mean, knowing that Columbus had gone out, knowing that Cincy had gone out earlier in the day, that enough was making me nervous. Now that I know what I know with Pompano Beach, Inter Fort Lauderdale being out of it, man.
and that coming after, that's the best part.
Who would have thought that at the end of the regular season that Tata Martino would be fired before Orlando City even stopped playing games this year?
Literally broke a record, bro. Broke a points record and got fired. That's wild.
All right. Well, I don't want to focus too much on them because we still got a game to play, games hopefully to play. So, stock up and stock down. Man, I tell you what, man, it's hard not to give the stock up to Pedro. I mean, it's really hard not to with how he was able to perform when it matters most, right? Pedro's, I mean, he's pretty average, run of the mill when it comes to stopping pens, like 21% around there. And I mean, there's been shootouts where he hasn't stopped a single thing, and honestly, has looked horrible. Like doesn't even guess the side right sometimes. For a whole penalty shootout, 5 straight, just going the wrong way. So he stepped up, and when he dominated those first 2, man, I was like, this is my hero. Like I don't care about anything that Pedro's ever done. That was to me, depending on where this season goes and how far we can go, that you're talking about, if we convert this into a championship, I mean, to me, the most clutch moment in Orlando City history, no doubt about it, was Pedro doing what he did right there, and getting those 2 stops, especially after how bad we lost in the penalty kicks, just the week before. So I think you got to give it to Pedro. And then as far as stock up, man, I don't know. I guess Facu for me, he's actually showing up and he's playing well, and hopefully continue it. But it was a collective effort to get back in the match, and as far as the field players are concerned, you gotta give it to Facu with Pedro, in my opinion. Stock down, I don't know, man. Maybe Jansen, I guess Smith, but he banged that penalty, so it's kind of hard to give it to Kyle.
It's hard,
but yeah, I got to say Robin, unfortunately. Where are you at with it, Reiter?
Stock up. I'm going to just go with what I said earlier. I think Duncan coming in, relieving him and Moriel relieving Enrique. He didn't have enough contribution to the match, but his single biggest one was getting in and earning that PK. Like, don't get me wrong, Facundo scored it. I don't know if Duncan scores that PK, but he earned it and he got us to that point. So I'm going to give it to him just because I don't know if Cleon will. Stock down, it's hard to say because we didn't play a bad match. We just didn't score. Honestly, I'm going to throw a little shade and say Enrique. Like, he's been a little cool all throughout the playoffs. And unless he accelerates in training this week with a lot of people gone on international duty, I think that his stock is diminished quite a bit. So
how about Muriel, man? Just before Cleon goes, I mean, doesn't just the guy's made for this moment? He's just made for this big time game. Just put me in, coach, and let me change this, turn this game up on his head. And that's really what he did too. When he came in, I mean, just the entire 15-20 minutes he was in, man, I was like, this guy's on a mission, and he's been that way for a little while. Where are you at with it, Cleon?
Stock up, I'm gonna say we're all pretty even for stock up. I'll go Pedro. He's been pretty good for this playoffs outside of that PK shootout. But other than that, he's been pretty good for us all the way.
You're talking about the previous PK shootout.
Yeah, the one we lost. Okay. Stock down for me, that's definitely Enrique. We definitely need him to pick that back up because I don't want to have to switch the lineup right now. You know what I mean? So we need him to step up his production so he does good for us in the first half, and then Duncan and Muriel come in and just completely kill tired legs of whoever we're up against. You know what I mean? And that's what's been getting us through. So yeah, for sure, I would say Enrique's stock down for me. Janssen too. That's kind of for the year, honestly, for me. But I would say Janssen as well. And yeah, stock up right now, definitely. I would go Pedro. Pedro's been good. Duncan's been good in his limited minutes he's gotten. Muriel, he's been good in his minutes. Facu, he's been pretty decent. He has been ghost. So I mean, That's been our problem with him in big matches before, because he disappears. You know what I mean? He gets pushed off the ball, and then he's not there. He's not a factor at all. Even this match, he was still hitting the post and things like that. So he was at least being effective. You know what I mean? Might not have been finishing, but I mean, he was causing problems. So I'm not gonna. He's still in a good course. So I'm with him still.
Yeah, I would. I mean, as much as I hope that we don't need them at all to perform on Sunday, the trio of Duncan, Muriel, and Nico, even coming off the bench, has been a game changer. Nico, I mean, aside from really early in the season, he's looked the best that he's looked in a long time for us in a few months.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Coming off
That's
the bench,
a great show.
So almost had that assist. He was onside to win the game against game 2, and that should have been a goal. And I mean, even in this match, bringing those 3 guys on with fresh legs just completely turns the game upside down and makes it a whole another monster for defenses to handle, especially when we're down a goal and having to attack fully. And Nico's, I've been happy with him, and honestly, if you need a guy like him, he might be the difference to us, making it to where, I mean, this guy's won MLS Cups before. He knows this moment doesn't like a guy like Enrique. Maybe the moment's getting to him, but with Nico and Muriel, who also is built for this moment. He's played in some of the biggest cups in the world. I think that those 2 guys in particular, Duncan's always going to give you what he's always given you, right? I mean, that's never changed. Duncan's always been phenomenal at getting his chances created and usually capitalizing on them. But those 2 guys specifically, coming on for Ojeda and Angulo, totally switches up the game and makes the defense have to go from worrying about getting beat over the top and just getting stretched to guys actually beating you on the ball, and that's a huge factor in the game, in my opinion. Hopefully we won't need it on Sunday. Hopefully we're up 2-0 and we get to bring in Kyle Smith and any other defender that we have, and Bracalo, and Nico comes in just to kind of ice the game up, and maybe Felipe can stay as far away as possible, but we'll see.
From your lips to God's ears on everything you just said, because nothing would make me happier to see us get a 2-0 lead in this match. And I don't know if we necessarily will, but after what we've been through the past couple weeks with the 2 matches versus Charlotte, I would love to see us get a 2-0 lead against Atlanta. That would be fun.
I don't think we have a choice if we want to advance. Just my opinion, but we'll get to that a little bit later. All right, what are we looking at now? Bracket,
baby.
So if you listen to the last episode, I shut this segment down because I didn't care.
This is exactly why I put this in here, bud. This is exactly why.
Reiter drew it up and I squashed it. Mike wanted to talk about it. I said, I don't care. It doesn't matter what the bracket looks like because frankly, we may not be in it anymore after this game, and we ended up just barely surviving by the skin of our teeth. So we can look at the bracket. Of course, we are the home seed now, the highest seed left. We will have home field obviously on Sunday, and then next weekend if we are to advance against one of the New York teams for a chance to go to MLS Cup. I mean, how big is this, Cleon? I mean, it hasn't turned out that way, because if you look at the other 3 matches, the team that did not have home field advantage took it home. But I mean, in your opinion, does this make a big difference?
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is leading into, if we can advance here, this will be leading into the biggest match in our existence, which would be that conference finals to go to MLS Cup. The bracket shaking out the way it did, I mean, you can't ask for it to go any more perfect, right? At least on our end. Got everything we wanted, even on that last regular season game against Atlanta. I said it then. I was like, maybe it's better for us. You know what I mean? Because we know DC and Montreal, they had zero chance of doing anything with Miami, and Atlanta, for whatever reason, was the one team that Miami just could not deal with all season long. So it worked out perfectly. It literally worked out perfectly. We have home field all the way through, so it's the same as us being the 1 seed at this point. We are the 1 seed at this point, at least in the East. And to be honest, us versus Atlanta for a chance to go to the conference finals and then a chance to go to MLS Cup, I almost feel like this is what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like it's even in our good years, for whatever reason, we've always struggled just putting them away and putting them down and keeping them down and killing them. Even when we're way better than them on the season, we've never just, it's always been the same way how Atlanta was Miami's. Atlanta's always been ours, always. And for us to finally make that MLS Cup, I feel like almost like that Thanos scene where he says, and where did that road lead you? Right back here to me. You know what I mean? And I feel like this is what it's supposed to be. If we're going to make it to MLS Cup, we need to go through them.
God's plan.
You go straight through. It was the plan, man. It's like this is what it was supposed to be, and this is what it always was supposed to be. Us versus Atlanta, square up. Let's go. And we got to go in there. We got every advantage in our way. We got the biggest seed gap between anybody. We're 4, they're 5, and you know what I mean? I mean, they're dying. They're not even supposed to be in there. Like they weren't even like the higher wild card seed. They were the lowest wild card seed. They're only in because of us at that last match. And like I said, we still haven't been putting them away all season. So for us, we need to exercise that demon, run straight through Atlanta's face, and then until I feel like almost like until we do that, it's always our stumbling block, and that's going to keep us from that cup. So I feel like this is our moment, and this is what it was supposed to be, and we're supposed to go straight through their face, man.
What do you think about the other side on the East? You think NYC goes through or Red Bulls go through?
In all honesty, it really don't matter. It really don't matter to me. I mean, it's either way, they're going to be a road team. One's a 6 seed, one's a 7 seed. Is basically the same thing. The one's not really better than the other. I don't think one's easier than the other. NYCFC, if there was in New York, now that's a little crazy because you know that place is weird to play. Red Bulls, they've always kind of had a little thing with us, but I mean, in the few past years, I think we've learned to handle it a little better. Maybe in a one-off, it's iffy. But in all honesty, I really don't think that matchup matters that much as far as we go. Like it could be either one. I feel like it's the same thing.
I'm rooting for Red Bull just because you know we had them in the same spot to advance to the U.S. Open Cup final, and we totally demolished them at home. So,
oh my gosh, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, that's why I'm rooting for Red Bull, and I honestly I think Red Bull will win that match. But I'm just going to point this out because we faced
also real quick. We've also faced NYCFC a lot of times in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and it's almost always historic.
Yeah, I mean, so we had 3 other teams on our side of the bracket, and I'm just going to point it out that we played them 6 times combined, and we haven't beaten any of them this year. We have two draws and 4 losses in those 6 games. So, you know, is it more of a we're due, or is it more of a this is tougher than it looks? You know,
we'll due see. Or we're gonna do.
We'll see. If we, you know, and I hate going this far, but a lot of people are wanting to know, and I'm sure you've already seen this, but the only way that Orlando City can host an MLS Cup final is if Minnesota rather advances all the way through. We finished with the identical record as them, wins, draws, and losses this year. We scored 1 more goal total for the season, and that's like the 3rd tiebreaker or something like that. So, yeah, that's the only way that we go through is if and host. Otherwise, it'll be in either LA or Seattle. on December 7th. Anybody
Who
else
do you
got
think's-
anything to add?
I was going to ask both of you, who just much quicker, who do you think's going through on the other side? You think we're getting in El Trafico in the Western Conference Finals, or you think there's some kind of act of God where the Loons go through and give us a chance at? I mean, you're talking about the fact that we're fourth in priority. There's only 5 teams that are still eligible to host MLS Cup. They even posted, and I almost threw it in here, but I didn't have time. It was like a newspaper. MLS posted like a newspaper. Here's the order, and we're 4th on that list, and we've earned that. And that's a small shout out to how well we have done and how we have survived in these playoffs, considering it's been just in the Eastern Conference. It's been a reckoning for high level teams. But what do you guys think? We get El Trafico for Western Conference Finals, or do you think someone else goes through?
It's hard not to think El Trafico is not going to be the conference final. It's been setting up that way all year. Personally, I don't think Minnesota has a chance. I think the Galaxy have played the best for the majority of the year, and I would expect to see them in the MLS Cup final. To be honest, I think if you're going to see an upset, it's going to be Seattle over LAFC. Seattle's played.
I agree. Same thing.
Yeah, they've been the only hotter team than we have the last 2 months of the season. So I think if you're going to see any sort of upset, it's going to be Seattle for sure.
That's exactly what I said on Scarves and Stripes last night. It's gonna be LAFC or LA Galaxy in the Cup final. Like Seattle would be the only major upset there, as would Atlanta, but it's like Cleon said, it's not going to be Atlanta. So I foresee it, LA getting through the Galaxy, and then not so much a coin flip. I can see LAFC Seattle going 120 if Seattle can come out and really dominate them with both possession and getting goals early, but we'll see. It's going to be an exciting weekend.
For sure. All right. Speaking of the weekend, what do we got next? Oh, you want to give some history, Alex, of our rivalry?
I do want to give some history.
For our picks?
Yeah, I will give some history, and it's been alluded to a couple times so far in this episode, and this is my second pod of the week. I was a guest on, as I alluded to a few seconds ago, on the Atlanta United podcast, Scarves and Stripes, who I've already had some fun with earlier in the season going into the playoffs. And I lost a bet to them over decision day. But here's the thing, guys. This has been our biggest rival since they came into the league. They've been here for quite a while. We had some manufactured rivalries and some that were kind of created from stuff that happened on the field, NYCFC, Columbus, that kind of thing. Atlanta's the one that really got serious. Atlanta's the one that the first match, there were billboards, there were some fan interactions that are an interesting part of our history. Not to mention that Kaká goal at Bobby Dodd and our fans apparently vandalizing their stadium by accident by destroying a bench. And it carried on. It carried on to 2018, the Will Johnson Cupgate game that a lot of people forget was against Atlanta. And then 2019. We had a chance to go to the Open Cup final, and they beat us. This is our time to take that revenge, we've only beaten them 4 times. Only 4 times. Only Oscar has ever beaten Atlanta United. And I think this is our time to take it to them on a big stage They've already come through only because they beat us on decision day. We let them into this fight, and now we're going to kick them right back out because they beat Messi. They beat Inter Miami. They got there. This is news that just dropped today that I believe, Alex, you said earlier that Tata Martino is out at Inter Miami after being the most successful coach in Atlanta United's short history. This is our time. This is not a time for dwelling on the past. It's not a time for looking at, oh, Atlanta United always dominates us. We're gonna have a tough time of this. This is the time for the guys that know. And there's some guys on this squad that know. Robin Janssen, Kyle Smith, even Pedro. Pedro definitely knows. Pedro's going to use some magic this week. And a couple of the other guy, Wilder doesn't know as much, but he's going to be antagonistic. That'll be for sure. But there's guys on this squad that know how much this game means, and they're going to be the ones that show up. Even Facundo. Facundo has now become the all-time leading scorer. These guys need to show up. It's a historical match. I think it's a better match than if it were against Inter Miami, because Inter Miami would be just, oh, it's all about Messi. We're going to focus on Messi and Messi squad. I mean, he's going to end up managing the squad Aaron Rodgers style, but this is our time. Do you guys have a favorite memory from this rivalry? And do you think that this rivalry lives up to the hype for this match?
My favorite memory is Cleon, the origination of the belt, and then us losing 4-0. Or was it 2-0 that game? I don't know. We've been a few times and we've gotten spanked.
Was that the first time we went with former sponsor who will not be named?
Cleon talking all that trash with the belt. I'll never forget that. Personally, what's your favorite moment, Cleon?
They loved me. They loved me. I had fans there. Whatever. Yeah. I don't have any favorite moments over there. I only have moments of, things like y'all making me be fullback going through the freaking Atlanta crowds and stuff like that. On the way home.
Not even the
huh?
Wearing the BOA into the stadium, or you don't have any memories of actually beating them?
No, I've never witnessed a victory there. Never.
Not even at home? Oh, I guess the first time we beat them. This is funny enough. Do you have anything else, Cleon? Because that's my favorite memory. My favorite memory is us beating them for the first time, and the stadium was empty. It was after MLS is back in 2020, before they brought fans back. And
the one time, and it's like it didn't even count.
Yep, no one got to see it. It was just on TV. I'm literally watching it on my iPhone as I'm walking into church, and we beat them. I'm just like, holy crap, we finally got this monkey off our back after 4 years. Now let's do it again. And then we proceed to, I believe the first Orlando City home match after COVID was against Atlanta United, and we lost. I know because I sat with Cleon and they scored in like the final minute. So it's a good rivalry. I'm looking forward to Sunday. I have canceled some plans because I'd rather watch this game than focus on the Bears, but that's a whole different story.
Oh, yeah, so. That's automatic. All right, Reiter, you gave us a good lead in, so tell us your prediction.
Yeah, I'm gonna literally just quote what I said last night. This is a game we can win. I do think that there are a couple of factors. I think Facundo needs to show up. I think Duncan needs to show up. And I'm even going to edit it a little bit and say Enrique needs to show up. I think this is a 2-1 match in 120 minutes. We're not going to get this done in 90. Facundo scores sometime in the first half. We're going to give up an equalizer, and then Duncan Maguire is going to score in extra time. And we're going to advance, and the Cardiac Cats are going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
You guys really want my prediction? I will say we have to start hot. We don't have a goal. It's not going to be like Charlotte, who don't like to score. We have to score. We have to get out to it. We have to get the first goal, no matter what. And I'm going to say, I was going to say we were going to lose. I really was. I was going to say 1 or 2-0, just like last year against Columbus in extra time. But I'm going to be honest, man. Cleon got me pumped after the bracket talk. Saying
he's making you a believer.
Cleon got me pumped, saying this is how it's meant to be. This is how it's meant to be, and it's hard not to buy into that. So I think we get out to a 2-0 lead, and then I think we pound it home from there. I'm gonna say 3-0 Orlando City.
Woo!
Yep.
Who's scoring?
I think the boys are gonna come to play, man. That's what I think. I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Enrique get off the snide, get a goal. I think Facu gets a brace, and honestly, the way it feels like it's got to be smooth sailing, or it's not going to go well for us. I think it's got to be an undoubtedly dominant performance to get through this team. We're not going to like we have been saying. Against Atlanta is never easy. And we've never really gotten over the hump. So to get over the hump, I feel like we got to make it easy, and we got to get it done. Now, Cleon, I know before we started the pod, you had some words. Go ahead and give us your prediction.
I said this last time we was in a situation like this. And y'all want to call me Juju, bad Juju, and all this type of stuff. I'm going to tell you right now. Write it down. Take a picture. Do whatever you want. It's a wrap. They are done before they even show up. We talking 4-1, 3-1, 4-2, something like that, bro. I already got the Kikito and the Jello out, bro. I'm already moved past this. I'm already at the conference final. I'm ready at the conference finals. We were supposed to go through their face, and that's exactly what we about to do. About to run straight through them. Straight through them. Thank you for Messi. Thank you for clearing out Messi. Appreciate you. Now go on about your day, because it's over for you. It's a wrap. Write it down. Take a picture. Guarantee.
So you're saying a multi-goal win, and we just run them over?
We're moving on. Guarantee it.
Who's scoring?
Everybody. It's a lock. It's a lock.
For the record, Mike completed. He moved it. He completed his move to Colorado. He couldn't be on tonight, still working on getting internet out there. But he said 2-1 win with Duncan tearing their hearts out in the stoppage time. Facu getting the first goal after we go down a goal. Facu getting a goal, and then Duncan tearing it out in stoppage time. And then Eddie came on and said 2-2 Lions advance in penalties after 120 minutes.
Eddie's just trying to give this whole fan base another heart attack.
I can't see it working like that. I just can't see us advancing.
It's over in regular time.
Man.
It's over in regular time.
You're not even saying 120. You're saying 90 minutes, Cleon.
90.
I'm with Cleon.
It's over.
We might need to move the optimism line and tagline to Cleon, because I love that. I love everything about that. I hope it's true.
Yeah,
it would be so satisfying.
I honestly, I was gonna say exactly like Columbus last year is how it's gonna go down. Is what I was gonna say. Oscar's gonna be scared of the counter.
No, Alex.
0-0.
No, Alex. Stop talking. You did
got
this.
Me pumped, I gotta say.
Don't even.
I was thinking. I was like, we got to clip that part, that Cleon, because that was like the players could listen to that in the locker room. I think we put some orchestra music behind it.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
Yeah, we put some of that behind it. Some some drums and some bass behind it, and I think the players could listen to that, and this is our time. This is our time.
This is exactly. I'm telling you, this is exactly the way it was supposed to happen. Us versus
This is your time.
100%.
Now go out there and take it. I'm just quoting sports movies at this point.
All right, shout outs. You got one, Cleon? Do you want to start us off?
I'll shout out that NYC Red Bulls match to see whoever's gonna meet us in the finals, in the conference finals, because we already there. So shout out for that. Shout out to Atlanta. Shout out to my birth city. Shout out to Atlanta for taking care of that little messy problem, boys. You know, good job. Now it's time to die.
Reiter?
I'm going to do two. One is the shout out to the 9-volt in Cleon's smoke detector. You're doing the work.
Hey. what? Sometimes stereotypes is just out there, bro, and you can't even deny them. We just have to let it ride. Because that smoke detector's been beeping. That smoke detector's been beeping for at least 3 months at this point.
It's been beat anyway. Second shout out is to Orlando City alumni and NWSL 2024 Coach of the Year Seb Hines. And what's the name of the NWSL Shield? Is that the actual name?
No idea.
I think it's the Shield winners, the Orlando Pride, who have advanced in a historic season to the 2024 NWSL final next weekend in Kansas City against the Washington Spirit. Come on, Pride, make us proud, inspire the boys. Show the boys how it's done. Marta with that just world-class goal to put them through over the weekend. Get it done. We're cheering for you. Show the boys how it's done and get that first championship before the boys do.
They played phenomenal all year, and man, it would be sweet. It would be sweet for them to get the double and then Orlando to sweep.
Double trophies, baby. It's coming.
That would be sweet. All right, my shout out first is because you mentioned Vilder, Cartagena, Reiter. I want to shout him out for not getting a yellow against Charlotte. He played phenomenal to not get a yellow, and he played really smart, and that's going to keep him on for this weekend. So shout out to him. And then my second shout out is to whoever makes Monster Jam monster truck toys. My wife brought home they make mini monster truck toys, and they're the size of like $50, maybe even smaller, and they make one that looks like a horse, and it's got ears on it, and it's brown. And my wife said, "Look, he's never had this one before." I said, "Oh wow, that's so cool," you know. So my wife goes out, she's at Disney with her friends, and I'm watching my son, and lo and behold, that little sucker's on the ground. I stepped right on it, went straight through my foot. I got a hole in my foot. So whoever decided to make a monster truck the size of $50 and then put lethal horns on top of it, there's a special place in hell for you.
Did you do that tonight?
No, that was on Sunday. And yeah, I'm literally, it was stuck in my foot. This thing went right through my foot, stuck in it.
You're playing hurt. Good for you.
It was horrible, and I just can't believe anybody would make. I mean, people talk about stepping on Legos. No. This is a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level. So, if you're listening, you got kids that like monster trucks, just avoid the minis. Avoid the minis. That's all I gotta say. That's my shout out. You boys got anything else to add?
By Brown. The Chicago Bears are going to break my heart one piece of my soul at a time, and I can't bear to watch it. Please, for the love of God, Orlando, give me happiness.
Listen, Reiter. The Chicago Bears are horrible. My Knowles are the worst they've ever been. They're 1-9.
I'm
But at the beginning of the
commiserating right
year-
there with you.
At the beginning of the year, if they would have said, hey, this Florida State Seminoles are going to go from undefeated regular season to 1-9, but Orlando City goes and wins MLS Cup, I'll take that trade 100 out of 100 years. And I love my Seminoles. So, hey, whatever I got to sacrifice for Orlando City to keep on rolling, they just let me know, and they can keep on sacrificing it. It's totally fine by me. 52-3
Amen to-
against Notre Dame, I don't care. Orlando City wins. That's all that matters to me. I make that trade. 100 out of
Amen
100
to
times.
that. Michigan went from national champions at the beginning of this calendar year to now they're not even going to be in it for the playoff. They're not going to be anywhere. I've commiserated right there with you with FSU. My wife went there. She's a huge fan, and we've been suffering through college football all season together.
We'll make that
The one
trade, Reiter.
I would make that trade 10 times out of 10 because when we win, like Cleon says, when we win, when it's a lock on Sunday and go on to beat some New York or New Jersey team, it's going to be marvelous. It's
For
going
sure.
to be marvelous. You know who
And
we
all
haven't
know,
mentioned?
We all know who to blame if we don't. The Juju man himself.
That was literally what I was just going to say, and I'm going to say it. We haven't mentioned his name once on this pod. We haven't mentioned his name once on this pod, and I don't think we should. For the Juju.
We shouldn't. Yeah, no, we're not going to.
It's a lock.
Agreed. All right, well, you heard it from Cleon first. It's a lock. You know who to blame. I'll see you all there. You be in there, right, Cleon?
Oh, I'll be there.
All righty, I'll see you there.
I
We'll get
will
it done.
not. I will be literally turning the Bears game off. It's going to be funny. I'm going to be rooting against Wilf's team in the Vikings and then turning that game immediately off and watching Orlando go on and do their thing. So,
Well, vamos Orlando. Hopefully we'll talk to you guys next week in preparation for an Eastern Conference final matchup at home. Let's get it. Our time is now. See y'all next week. Vamos.
It's a lock.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Orlando Lions Den podcast. Don't forget to follow us at Orlando Lions Den on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next week in the Den.